Today I'm going to show you how you can save a boatload of cash on not buying the Electro-voice 309A shock mount and how you can modify a Rode PSM1 shock mount to fit your RE320, your RE20. Now I actually managed to build two of these by buying these shock mounts from Amazon Outlet and the extra little clip that I required to hold the microphone into place for £50. So that is £25 per microphone. I've got one for my RE320 and one for my RE20. So I'm going to take you in, I'm going to show you how I did it, and then I'm going to come back at the end and talk about a couple of other options and why I think this is the best value option for a high quality shock mount for your Electro-voice microphone. So these are all the bits and bobs that you're going to need to get either your RE320, your RE20 to fit in a Rode PSM1. So what you're going to need is an Electro-voice microphone. I've got an RE320 and an RE20 here. You're going to need some kind of electrical tape or tape because there's a little pin on the microphone that we need to remove. This here, which we'll talk about a little bit more later in the video. Let's have a little look. This is a 25mm barbell clip, and that is to make sure that we've got something to keep the microphone clipped into the shock mount. You're then going to need a couple of screwdrivers. I didn't measure this one. This is just a teeny little flathead screwdriver. Okay. Teeny little flathead one, but this is the one that we're going to use to remove the locking connector from the PSM1. So it's 5mm in diameter and 1mm thickness. Okay, that's kind of what you need, about a 1 to 1.5mm thick screwdriver, and it needs to be a bit of a strong one. And you're also going to need some needle nose pliers, just a small pair. These are really grimy. I don't know what I've been using these for over the years, but these get used for pretty much a lot of the stuff that I do. So I'm just going to move a lot of this out the way over to the Rode PSM1 then. So essentially there is this ring in here that this is to connect in like the Procaster, the NT1, NT2A essentially. And that won't allow us to put in the RE20. It has to come out, but it's held in place by this little piece of metal that sits inside here. So the first thing I recommend for you to do, and I will apologise, I just noticed I had a load of thermal paste on my hand from a computer build yesterday. So apologies if my hands were grubby at the beginning there. But what I recommend is you take this piece out, okay? This is the first thing I'll do. So you remove this piece because it's going to be a lot easier. Now, this is very difficult to get out, so I recommend you take your time with it. And I wouldn't do it on your desk. I wouldn't do it anywhere where this can ping off and essentially hit something like your monitor screen. The first time I did it, took me ages to do it, but the second one that I purchased, I had it off in like 30 seconds. The only reason I'm not doing it on camera is because it's incredibly hard for me to film, and I don't want to break anything on my desk or risk stabbing myself because I'm too busy focusing at a camera. So I just recommend you take your time with it. And essentially what I did, obviously not with a brand new Nike, is I would hold it down on the floor with my hand over it, and then you wedge the screwdriver in and just start working it. You can almost see there, but you're able to find that you just start wedging it, just start tweezing it, and then it will just pop out. Now, obviously that's popped out in a second because we don't have the ring in and I can't put the thing back together afterwards. But just take your time with it. Like I said, just hold it strong down on the floor, and then I held it up against my foot, and then I just worked it, slowly worked it, kept working it with the screwdriver, and poop. So then you think, great, I can just put this thing back together and just stick my RE20, RE320 or 27 ND in. But as you can see, it's not pushing through. And that is because of the metal ring that's inside. So that's what we need to remove next. You can see it's just in there. Look at by my thumb, you can see there's just that little metal ring in there. One thing to mention as well, this felt piece, there's nothing underneath that gets you in it easier. So you don't need to remove the felt. And this is where the small screwdriver comes in. So I'll just poke it in there. Work it out. There we go. That's the ring. All of that's out. I'm doing it this way because every time I touch these two pieces of metal, it makes this annoying little charm. But then you'll think, oh great, I can stick it through. But you can't, because can you see that there? There is a little pin on Electro-voice microphones. See that there? And that's going to stop us getting through. So now you've got two options. You can either pull it or you can push it in. You can see there on my RE20, I've pushed it in. And it fits completely flush, so it doesn't get in the way of any XLR connections, okay? Now the 320 doesn't want to be pushed in, it wants to be pulled out. So what I'd recommend is either way that you do it is that you stick some electrical tape around the microphone. So yeah, it's just essentially to stop it getting scratched. So whether you push it or pull it, There you go. There's a little pin out and you can put it somewhere safe. There we go. As you can see there, now the RE320, RE20, RE27 ND will fit like a glove, but there's nothing to hold it into place. Okay, nothing to hold it into place. So you could use that. You could use the included one, but it looks a bit stupid, doesn't it? And you wouldn't want to connect on that end because it avoids the point of the shock mount. Now, there's a few options you could use here. You could use a pipe clip if you want a more sort of permanent solution. That's something that you could use, but I found these. These are 25mm barbell clips, essentially for weights, things that I'm never going to lift in my life. Yeah, just stick it on the end, lock it into place. There we go. Fingers crossed this isn't going to hit my desk. You can see that. That is firmly in there and not going anywhere. So there we go then. It's pretty easy to do. Just take your time. Don't get stressed about it. You will pop that nut off. Just thought about what I said there. You will slip off the ring piece. No. You will remove the ring. One ring. You just got one ring to rule them all, to take them off. Just pop off the ring piece. Enough said. But you get what I mean. But just take your time with it. The first one I did took ages because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not strong and I didn't know how much strength I was supposed to put onto it. And actually, I think the first time I did it with a fatter screwdriver, which took me longer to get in there. So that screwdriver I was using there, it doesn't need to be, you know, particularly meaty, but it needs to be enough that you can just slide it in there and then just pop the thing off. So I wanted to talk about a couple of other options then if you didn't want to go with this. So there is the Heil PR40 shock mount, but that's actually £100 in the UK. The best I've ever seen it is 80 quid, so it's still quite expensive and it's only built as well as this. But with the PR40, all you have to do is take the little pin out of the microphone. There's a time saving there. It's not so stressful, but you can set up 3 of these or 4 for the price of one PR40. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video there, I bought ones that were Amazon returns because it saved £15 a shock mount, but this could cost you between, you know, the £30 that I paid, but it was 25 because the clips were only sold in packs of 2. So it may set you back maybe £45, but I still think it's a massive cost saving there. The other option is like universal shock mounts because you can get spider style shock mounts universal. I don't see as many come up in the UK, but Amazon.com's got a few, so you could try those. And even if it didn't have like a clip that would fit on it that would hold your mic into place, at least you know that you can just buy a couple of these barbell clips, or you can use a pipe clip, you know, so whatever you want to use. You'd save some money there using a pipe clip, but I like that. I think the barbell clip looks nice and it's just nice and easy to remove. Don't really want it to be a permanent solution. And I think the biggest thing to, let me just tap on it, you know, let's just tap because I don't think I've done any of that. There's some taps there. Taps on my desk. Let me clatter away on some keys there. See if any of that's coming through. Now, the biggest consideration for this isn't just saving yourself money on buying one shock mount. If you were building a podcast setup, this saves a lot of money. You build 2 of these, the cost savings £200. That's not far off buying an RE320, and it certainly gets an RE320 second hand. I mean, you can pick them up for £160 second hand. So there's a big cost saving there if you were building a four podcast setup. And I think even if you were just going with 4 RE20s, which would kind of be the dream, wouldn't it? You're almost paying for an entire RE20 there by building the shock mounts this way. So a huge savings. Anyway, that is it. That is my guide. That's how I did it. Anyone that's been asking me about this for almost a year when I modified my RE320, apologies. It took me so long to make the video. I just didn't get around to buying another shock mount. I knew it would have been cheap to test the video, but I was like, I'll do the video when I get the 20. And it took me a while to get the 20. It took me a while. I'm still not sure about it. I prefer the RE320 straight out of the box. So maybe I won't keep my dream mic for as long as I thought. But anyway, that's it from me today. If you are thinking about building this, please use the affiliate links below. I'm trying to save you money, and then you helping me make money saves me money. So we're working together there. Make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back with some more videos very soon.